Good day, everyone from CashBro.com. Because nothing makes you more excited. On today's video, we gave my Amazon Shopper Panel review for 2024 summertime. Is it still worth your time? Can you still get an easy 10 bucks per month? What happened to receipt values? Thank you everybody so much for joining me. I'm gonna ask you for a quick favor. Like videos like this where I go over ways you can make extra money in this type of doing things like scanning or emailing your receipts to the Amazon gods. Let me sure you give this video a like because it will get it out in front of more people, and it does help us out with the good reviews of algorithms. Thank you so much. And if you haven't, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, 5,000 by the end of the year. So thank you again so much. Now, I initially made my review on the Amazon Shopper Panel more than 3 years ago, where the point of it was it's another app or another method where you can scan receipts, but back then you can get a flat $1 per receipt that you scanned, no matter what the receipt was from. Unfortunately, since then, that has changed. But first, on that, let me just say that the Amazon Shopper Panel is, like I mentioned, a program where you can scan receipts from your purchases and also email it to them. And also, every once in a while, they'll have surveys which are really short, one or two, about between uh, three or so questions for about a 25-cent payout. So very quick, very easy, and they always work. But it's not completely open to everybody. If you have not received an actual invitation from Amazon itself to participate in the Shopper Panel, you can download the app from the Play Store or the iOS Store because it does work on iOS as well. And you can request to be put on the wait list to get included into the program, which I still think, even as of now, spoiler alert, it is still worth your time technically. So here we go. So I myself have made over $500 in enrolling in the program in February of 2021. It's been more than 3 years. This month I should be the first month where I do not make at least 10 bucks, but the program pays you in three ways. One is via receipts, and that's where the biggest changes happen. Two is via surveys, which, from what I can gather, they really are tracking what you're doing. It's based off your several things: your Amazon purchase history, your browser history, so on and so forth. And three, uh, they want to track what ads you're watching, so you can enable uh, them to be able to view the ads you're watching. I honestly do not think that's the only thing you're watching. I'm pretty sure it tracks all your browsing, YouTube views, and so on and so forth. But they will actually pay you a flat $2 for that if it is turned on. It'll look like you have a VPN on your phone when the this feature is on. So just keep that in mind. It might affect how certain apps work, especially the pay-to-play apps like Misplay, although Misplay itself doesn't have an issue, but some apps might. So keep that in mind if you really want those $2. But technically, that's the easiest one since you can just get $2 just for having it running. So big change is in your receipt. So before they all paid $1. It was very rare that receipts or a certain category of receipts were not eligible. Unfortunately, this has changed. Restaurant receipts are no longer eligible, or food and beverage services, I should say, so restaurants and coffee shops, transportation and automotive services like gas stations and ride shares, software and streaming services, hospitality, leisure and entertainment services, shipping and delivery services, personal care services like gyms and hair salons, and other services like cell phone services and financial and legal services, medical expenses, duplicate receipts, non-English language receipts, and handwritten receipts. So a lot of stuff is no longer eligible, so it is really hard to get the credits or to get your 10 bucks now, which is still the maximum monthly payout. In my last video, which I will put on the pinned comment just so you can see how good it used to be back in the day, I was even getting credit for forwarding the receipts I would get from the Epic Game Store for redeeming a game for free during their free weekly game. So essentially a receipt for $0. I'd forward it to them, and which, by the way, if it is a qualified online purchase, which is pretty much almost, except for what I just outlined, almost anything, you can forward it to them and they will give you credit for it. The values have changed to as follows. To get the $1, which is what it used to be for every receipt, this only applies to electronic stores. So stores primarily focus on electronic products, including computing and mobile phones. So it's probably like a Best Buy, home improvement and decor stores. So probably like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, clothing, shoes, and accessory stores. So like a Macy's or JCPenney, if they're still around. Sports and outdoor stores, so probably like a Big Five or Dick's Sporting Goods. Haha. Department stores, So this will probably be like a Target, and that is it for the dollar redemption item. So for most people, you're probably not going to visit these stores 10 times in a month, unfortunately. So your actual payout, and I like how the screenshot is here. And by the way, this is actually a recording. I'm doing this on top of the screenshots in the Play Store because the actual app itself will not allow you to record or take screenshots of it, which is pretty strange. It's not like it's the freaking it's not a bank account, so I don't know why it's restricted in that way. But hey, I guess Amazon just wants to spy on you. It doesn't want to be spied on. So uh, from there, the next range, the next I should say bracket or tier of payouts is 25 cents. So 25 cent is big box stores, which you can see it's a little confusing. Uh, so department store versus a big box store. So big box store, more than likely, actually, that's going to be like a Target or a Walmart. Pet supply stores, that's going to be, like your PetSmart. And that's it for 25 cents. From there, it goes to 15 cents, which if you're like me, that's what the bulk of your receipts are, unfortunately, these days. So that includes dollar stores, pretty explanatory, convenience stores, uh, probably like a 7-Eleven, beauty and health stores, which it's I guess that's subjective. Drugstores, if I can be like CVS or Walgreens, and grocery stores, which mostly is where my purchases come from. I'm sure it's where most people's purchases came from. And specialty stores like Gifts, Craft and Hobby, and other eligible stores. So I'm assuming that's like what, like Hobby Lobby, something like that. So that is the receipt values now. So like I mentioned, unfortunately, it's really hard now to hit the $10. Uh, but is it still worth it? Like I mentioned earlier, I do think that it is because unfortunately, this is still, and I don't know, I don't want to say I have all because there are so many, but I use so many apps for receipts. I use Fetch Rewards, I use CoinOut, I use ReceiptPal, I use ReceiptHog. I used to use Bing, but that no longer accepts receipts. And all those taken into account, there is no app that pays as much as 15 cents for any given receipt. So unfortunately, this is still the highest payout you're going to find, uh, unless you have like some kind of offer like through Fetch Rewards or even like through Swag Bucks or something to purchase a specific product like at a grocery store. This is still going to be the best payout you got. So I still recommend, if you're not a member, ask to join. The surveys, I think, actually right now are the easiest thing because they always work. It's not like Swagbucks surveys, or now that I saw like Eureka or Survey Pop, where you might answer some questions and then not get qualified. If you get the survey, you're always going to be qualified. You're always going to get your payout, uh, and it just works. And the surveys are usually like 3 questions at most 5. So it's still very easy, and it'll help get some more money into your Amazon account. So I still think that it is worth it. The ad verification, again, like I said, the implication here is they're just viewing the ads that you're viewing. Uh, I think it is probably viewing more than that, but essentially it's just running in the background. Like I mentioned, it looks like you have a VPN running on the phone, even though you don't, and you'll get a $2 monthly reward from there. So that is it. But like I mentioned before, I've earned more than $500 from the program. So I'm going to keep it on my phone, even though it's paying a lot less currently. So far for this month, I have about 280. I have a few more receipts to scan, but I'm pretty sure my average every month with receipts and surveys, because never make additional purchases for these apps. It's a fool's errand, but I think I'm probably going to average close to $5 per month, as I'm sure most people will, unless you're doing a lot of shopping at the $1 locations, which I'm pretty sure that's pretty rare for most people, especially these days. But that's it, guys. That's my review of the Shopper Panel, Amazon Shopper Panel 2024. Used to be better, but technically it's still good payout for the work that is involved. Thank you very so much for joining me. If you like what you've been seeing, make sure you give a little visit to the like, share, and subscribe buttons down below. If you have any questions, tips, comments, post them in the comment section. I got to play some games, make some money, spend some money, see somebody, get boned. Get boning.